Hello, everyone. Today I just wanted to reflect on my trip to Uganda back in 2018. And I wanted to talk about this because I had a dream last night about one of the refugees that I worked with. And in the dream, the refugee called me on my cell phone and asked me how come I don't call her anymore, or how come I haven't reached out to her. And I remember feeling this sense of guilt in the dream, like I had a responsibility and had made a promise to take care of these people, but when I left, I never looked back and or reached out to anybody that I had developed a relationship with while I was there. Now, I guess I'll give you a little bit of context. So this was a medical mission trip that my medical school organized for students to go to gain some experience working in international settings. And I was accompanied by 6 or 7 colleagues. I think a few people from the College of Pharmacy and the medical school came along. And we stayed in a village that was about maybe 20 to 25 minutes away from the capital city of Kampala, Uganda, and that small village was called Ndeji. It was a little remote, but there's a lot of people that lived there. We stayed in this area where there's multiple small houses, but we stayed with the host family in this area that was enclosed. In the surrounding area, there was other villages that housed refugees from surrounding countries. And these are countries that are war torn, and there was a lot of violence and trauma, as you can imagine. So countries such as Congo, South Sudan, and Rwanda. In addition to teaching some seminars or just teaching some lectures to these refugees regarding healthy habits, safe hygiene practices, and prevention of some of the prevalent diseases in that area that included HIV, AIDS, and malaria. We also spent a lot of time with the refugees. So there were various activities that I personally participated in, including dancing, playing soccer. There was a point where I even braided my hair. Actually one of the refugees braided my hair for me. I just spent a lot of time with them and got to know all of them, or not all of them, but most of them pretty well. And in addition to us being in that environment taking care of the refugees, we also worked at a local clinic. This clinic served pretty much just anyone that walked through the door. And the clinic was pretty much just ran off of funding, and the patients were not or did not pay. So as you can imagine, it was very busy, and these refugees had nowhere else to go but to come to that clinic. Other clinics, other hospitals were available, but a lot of these patients could not afford it. So the population is so underserved that you would have lines like going out the door and going on over to the next street. And I've heard stories of patients just collapsing in line because they needed medical care, but there was nowhere else to go, and there was just so many people waiting in line. It was kind of disheartening and sad to see that. We also did some side trips to Rwanda, and I was able to go to the Rwandan Genocide Museum and learn about the genocide that happened 30 years ago. It was very sad. I remember getting teary at the museum watching the documentary of all the people that were killed and their family that still is mourning and grieving over their losses. And just being there and being in the environment and the aftermath of it, there was this sense of grief although the country itself has done a lot to try to repair a lot of these damages. We also went to Kenya. I was able to go to a few safaris and also learned how coffee was made. So I was participated in a coffee making seminar, which was fun with some of my colleagues. I mean, we were there for about a month, and I remember when I was leaving, I had given a lot of gifts to like my host family and refugees because I wanted to leave something behind. And I remember as I left, it was kind of like during dusk. The sun was kind of setting, but as my ride came to take me to the airport, I remember all the refugees just coming out to say bye, and I felt this, just like this kind of like sharp, like this sharp feeling in my chest. Like it was because I cared so much about these people, and I mean, they've been through so much, and some of these people have been through things that you would have never imagined possible, right? Like seeing people stabbed to death right in front of their eyes. And I remember as I was leaving, I wanted to come back and to do more work and to continue contributing to the betterment of these countries and these refugees, and to help provide that additional support that all of them need. And on my way back, I remember I was on the airplane, and as we were about to land in Minnesota, and I was coming back to Minnesota because I was back in Minnesota for the summer visiting my family, I remember the airplane made a jolt like it was gonna fall and crash. Like it kind of dropped for like 4 seconds straight, and everyone started screaming, and I was like, okay. And I remember getting so nervous and I was thinking to myself that I wasn't ready to die. I wasn't ready to die because there was just so much more that I wanted to give to the world. But as I went about my medical school training, got really involved with just studying. Second year of medical school was so hard. I mean, it wasn't like I forgot about all of the refugees and the host family that I worked with, but it just like talking to them became less and less of a priority because I was just so busy. And you know, I remember being in contact with maybe 4 or 5 of them, and I just remember it tapering down, like to less and less calls and less texts, and it got to the point where I stopped responding to anyone from Uganda. And it made me feel selfish. It made me feel like I had a responsibility, and I had made promises and I wasn't able to live up to it. But I also learned from this trip what it means to love, to serve, to have compassion towards others, and how one's mission is discovered through these feelings and tapping into the feeling of love and compassion for others. So I don't know where this will take me, but the other day I went to McDonald's and bought 5 $10 gift cards so that I can give out to the homeless, because I don't really like giving out money directly. I also feel like I'm giving back by serving the patients that I serve at my job, patients that are homeless, those that have severe mental illness. So this video is really just to allow me to express myself and kind of reflect on that experience. And hopefully one day I can go back there to Uganda and continue doing some work. Thank you for listening.